Morning. I am higher vibrations and so are you. And happy equinox. It is a balmy, 89 degrees here in this weird part of the world where it's strangely warm in contrast to what I'm familiar with this time of year. Um, we're here to have this amazing conversation. We're going to engage with the audience as you guys talk. So if you have any comments as we have our conversation, we will address them accordingly. And I'm so excited to welcome back Summer. Summer is this amazing energy that I really have a lot of fun talking to you. And the way that we flow together is quite fun. You have quite a background in a variety of different modalities. And so I would like to ask you to go into that a little bit. If you don't want to do that now, maybe a little bit in the future. And first, just say welcome. How are you today?
I am well. Got a little distraction here in my lap. This is Dexter. When the vibration is going to be high, he and my other little dog tend to come in and hang out. So we'll see. He doesn't usually make an appearance. Usually he's under a blanket. So I sort of wonder if that means the energies are going to be extra good today.
That would make sense. We just left Mercury retrograde 2.5 hours ago.
Nice.
And minus 3 minutes, I guess, almost precisely. So that's pretty pivotal moment that we're finally out of. We got past the solstice was official at 10:36 a.m. Central CDT, and then the Mercury left retrograde motion and Pan-STAR got to its closest approach to the sun, so we're probably getting some solar activity happening that I just haven't seen yet, too. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's going to be a very interesting couple of. Oh, yep. I just saw a post. It's begun. So apparently we've gotten a handful of solar flares since I last checked.
Good. Up here we get the northern lights when that is strong. And I know a couple nights ago it was starting again. So
yeah. In fact, there were a few flares that we just recently had. Oh, I don't remember now. It was yesterday, day before that. That was expected to come in last night and today throughout the day, like a 1, 2, 3 punch kind of thing. So, and this is pretty typical already. Then when you get a comet so close, it stirs up the energy of the sun and we get even more, though it's not always a bad thing. Often I find that incoming solar energy is usually beneficial for us, and it does feel like a relief. Starting this morning, I felt like we're on the other side of something. Finally, it feels like at long last we've made it through whatever that gooey residue that we were trudging through was. Now it's finally like a little bit more balanced. How are you feeling today?
I'm actually pretty good. Just glad it's Friday.
Yeah.
So. Oh, you got another dog up here. Oh,
what's this name? What's the name of this dog?
So this is Duncan.
Duncan and Dexter.
Yeah, they're rescue dogs from Texas.
Cool. That's awesome. What is it that you do? Like you have a lot of. I know that I have. You will explain it a lot better than I will. Is why I'm asking you to do so. Because you're a healer educator. It says on your title. There's a lot of other things that you do as well, and you do sessions and help people in a lot of different ways.
So I am always adding. One of my passions is learning new things, and usually that seems like work to some people, but for me, so I started by learning reconnective healing and Reiki, which are forms of energy frequencies. And then I learned about the emotion code, which got Dr. Bradley Nelson's book here. And I got certified in that. And I just keep adding. Once I learn something, I usually tweak it to customize it. And, then I started teaching Reiki. But I upgraded to Holy Fire Reiki and do a lot of different things with emotions. And 2021, or was it 22? I learned hypnosis, the Dolores Cannon method, and then I've added another method too because I I like getting deeper into issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this week I've added something called the why session, which helps get to the root cause using hypnosis, but it's much shorter, less time consuming, and more affordable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm
So,
always adding.
pardon me, go on.
Yeah, so just always adding, hoping to help people heal.
Yeah. So, I there's a lot of people who ask these questions. They don't actually really know what it is that what QHHT is, and those types of practices really do. Um, I have my own opinion of it. I'm not a practitioner. I just see some of the things, and I've learned through along the way. Dolores Cannon, I was drawn to her because some of the things that she was saying, I already got told by spirit years before. So I was like, wait a minute, this person's talking my top words.
Yeah.
um, but what is it? What is QHHT, and what does it like do? Or the as well as the branch off modalities, is they're all about the same, except there's slight differences.
Yep. So QHHT is quantum hypnosis healing therapy, or is it quantum healing? Now I'm put me in the spot and I get it switched up. But it's Dolores Cannon's method, and I also got certified in someone who used to work with and for her, Candace Craw Goldman. She's got Beyond Quantum Healing, and Dolores passed over 10 years ago, and so they're sort of teaching it the same way. And there's some limitations, and things have changed in the last 10 years. So I sort of combine the best of both of the tools into what's going to be best for my clients. And the cool thing about hypnosis is because I had past life a therapy session, gosh, over 10 years ago. And we went in and got a past life and brought me back out. And I'm like, okay, well, but what does this mean? What am I supposed to do with this information? It doesn't really make sense. I mean, something happened, but I don't really understand the importance of it.
Yeah.
And that's the piece that I was missing when I had a regression. And with the Canon method, so for me, I have someone go in to up to 3 past lives, and then and also the BQH, same thing. Focus on the past lives, but after that, then we go and ask our why questions. And before any of this happens, there's like an hour and a half interview. So that way, when we get to a certain point, I'll be able to know key things, key questions. What would this person really want to know? Because I'm facilitating asking the questions and making sure that all the questions are answered.
Yeah.
So we initially pull in the higher self. I usually ask about, why did this past life come up? Why did this past life come up? Sometimes there's a general theme. Sometimes there's certain people that are in those past lives. I had one of my most interesting clients with a past life. She had the most idyllic, beautiful, wonderful past life. And she loved what she did. She loved where she worked. She loved her friends. And afterwards, because usually there's some type of learning to pull from a past life. But
Mm-hmm.
the reason why she was shown that is because that her life was so full of joy, especially compared to this one. And so they wanted to remind her that not everything is just set in stone, that things can change, and to be open for the joy. And so I learned something from that too. So that was cool. Um, and so oftentimes um, in the session, sometimes people, instead of going into a past life, they're pulled into a healing chamber. And with some people, healing can really happen on a deep level. But that's usually not up to me. It's up to them and their higher selves and what choices they made before they came here. But so many
Yeah.
questions can be looked into and answered. Say, like, you have a recurring dream. Why do you have that? Or you can ask, did I know my husband in a past life? Or, just things that you don't really understand what's going on, but you know that something needs to be looked further into.
Right.
So,
Cool.
so lots of interesting things.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, Dolores Cannon passed October 18th, 2014. I
Yep.
remember it was not long after my daughter was born. So she was a month and a half old when Dolores Cannon passed.
Yep. Over 10 years. So
Yeah.
it's been quite a while, and things, energy has changed. And I think COVID really pushed things along too. Um,
Yeah.
so I like her basics are fabulous,
Mhm.
but some of her concepts are a little outdated, which probably offends anybody who's into QHHT, but it's 2026. And so I've sort of tweaked things depending on the adult training that I've taken through other people.
Yeah. That makes sense too. Like, I mean, I've always been that way too. When you learn a discipline, it's not meant to be the only thing that you use. You collect
Mhm.
and add them together. I remember going through a period of doing that during my exploration of between like the age 14 and like 20, I explored all these different religions. And what I
Okay.
did was I took what resonated with me and I left the rest. And it doesn't jive with people who are very religious, but
Yeah.
I found that all of these spiritual practices are meant to be like a buffet table. You don't take everything from that table. You take what feels correct for you and you leave
Mhm.
the rest. So that makes a lot of
Yes.
sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I do with most of my tools. I learn the tool well, and then I adjust it to work better for me and my clients. So,
Right. And I found too that a lot of what we struggle with on a physical level are echoes or residue, emotional residue from not just this lifetime, but previous
mhm.
incarnation cycles and things like that. So for us to be able to find the underlying emotion body, often we do need to. It's best if we explore where that came from so we can resolve it head on instead of having to continually deal with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very helpful.
And which one can you do over the internet? Like I know that there's some type of like a rule that you can't do like QHHT on
Yep.
like a Zoom setting.
And so that's probably one of my biggest concerns, because I think I was into my third lesson through Dolores Cannon's method. And because I did the training in, I think it was 2022, and finished pretty quickly, but it was all, old videos from her used
Mhm.
for the training. And like the third video, it said no distance. And I'm like, most of my clients are distance, like 90% of my clients are distance. So at that point, I had found a guy on Facebook from Wisconsin, and I could tell just from his Facebook page and his website, he had had a lot of clients, and he only did QHHT. And so I reached out to him, not expecting an answer, because, I'm sort of like a newbie competition, and some people aren't very nice. And he
Yeah.
was so wonderful. And he said, I've had over 500 distance sessions. There is no problem
Yeah.
with that. And so that was helpful. So I continued on with the training, but that's why I added Candace Craw Goldman's um, Beyond Quantum Healing, because she knew Dolores. She worked with Dolores, went to the highest level of certification with Dolores, has had hundreds, if not thousands, of clients. And her training was so new and fresh. And she's like, there is no problem doing distance. And so that's when I say I combine the best of both.
Yeah.
I do. So,
That's awesome. Honestly, I never understood that. I remember there was a time where I really wanted to do have a QHHT session, and for one reason or another, Spirit wasn't encouraging me to do it. For things just kept happening. Like I would be thwarted in my travels, or something would come up. And um, I did explore the possibility, and I thought to myself, why is it so scary to get like that's why they say that you don't do it over the internet, is that, if you fall asleep, then the person can't, or get too deep or something. And I've it's difficult for me to imagine that you can't come back out of. They just take a nap. You know what I mean? Like they made it. I understood it as they were saying it's a warning that there's something bad can happen to you if you were not able to be reached. Like if you lost the call, if you
Yeah.
lost reception or something.
And so part of that is when I'm putting a person under and getting them into trance, there's a statement that I say, and if we lose technology, everything will be fine. We will reconnect, and just put the person at ease, because, nothing's going to happen, nothing bad. It's all good.
Yeah, yeah, that makes more sense to me. I mean, seriously, it's so funny. But oh, by the way, for those of you joining, if you have any questions or comments or like us to engage, we have a brilliant reader here. If you would like to ask any questions or anything, just write them in the comments, and I'm keeping an eye on that. And if you'd like to connect with Summer, this is her website under the on the screen here. You can find and explore, find out about her, explore more ways of connecting, and how to have meetings with you. You also do a lot of sound based stuff. Like I feel very melodic when I'm around you, and I don't know if you've ever explored. Do you use like musical instruments or something like that in your practice?
Not particularly, although it seems like when I like technology and gadgets, so I've got a few different things that do frequencies,
Oh, okay.
and so some of those, but oftentimes I don't use those in a session because it's more about energetic frequencies.
Yeah.
So although in person, sometimes I will use like a drum or a rattle to break up blocks. Um, but I don't often use them on a client. I use them more on me. Like there is this app called Z app, and it sort of gives frequencies like a Rife machine, only it's free. Although they do have a paid part of the app, but it's I've been playing around with it. It's rather interesting.
Huh. Well, it's working because you have the aura signature of music, and so
Oh,
that's how I see people. Is I see it through different symbols and colors that mean things.
okay,
And
cool.
yeah, you have this. It looks kind of like icy blue with these kind of ripples that are like divine feminine rather than straight up and down lines. They're like the ripply. It means music.
Oh. I do have, so there's an app that I pay for called Genius, and it does like biofeedback, and that has different sounds and frequencies. And then I also have a little gadget called a Healy. That's a micro current frequency device. And that's not so much frequency that you can hear, but some people, if you're sensitive, can feel.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember that being like a thing that was, I discovered that in 2020. I only
Yep.
just started finding out people are talking about this stuff around that time. Like this was all stuff I was doing on my own from when I was 4. So I have my own vocabulary.
Nice.
Angel in the Light asked, "What kind of question did you say to ask? Whatever you want to ask. Like, what? Why don't you frame that? Maybe you could help communicate it better than I could."
So Angel Night is a familiar friend. Um, and so she often shows up on my free mini healings when we're working on people.
Cool.
So usually when I work on people during a mini healing, I want them to put, what's going on. Is it something physical? Are you feeling certain emotions? And then we'll find out why. Are there certain trapped emotions that are contributing? So if you want to do that, or if you want to tweak it so that it's something a little different, that's fine with me too.
Oh, are you talking to her or to me?
Either one of you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. And if you have questions about anything specific and direct, that's also something that can come in. The two of us working together, as I don't know if you guys have seen our previous video together, how long ago that was. It was like a month ago, maybe. And
Yeah, I think
time
end of January, I think it was. So
really, dude,
Mhm.
time is so difficult to keep track
I know
of.
it's sort of crazy.
Yeah, and like, if you want to ask questions from your guides that maybe you're not able to fully connect with, and or sometimes what it is that we don't realize that we're not sure if what we're doing is getting answers from our guides and from the collective highest frequency available to us. And so when we ask somebody else and we get the same response, it helps to validate our truth and to see that you're actually channeling, you know. So that's also something useful. I um I sometimes will also pull out cards, but very rarely. And I did pull some cards. I found that to be kind of interesting. That integrity, boundaries, and leadership all came up.
Wow,
You
that's
know,
cool.
yeah, it's the jaguar, the mountain lion, and the armadillo. You know, and
Yeah.
um, I do feel like, and I was actually pulling it when I was reading Angel and Light. So I'm just going to say, whatever it is that you're about to do right now, you're stepping into a role of a leadership role. You're stepping into a position of helping people discern that their own energy. So those outside of you, a leader and guiding them. Often, this guidance that happens isn't exactly on purpose. It's like just you trying to get away from the icky energy, and then people saying, "Oh, cool, there's cool energy over there. I'm going over there," you know. And um, with Jaguar, it reminds you to the impeccability and the clearness of your word. A lot of times, Elsa will talk about goblin energy in the same way, having to do with, you know, we don't always realize the words that we say kind of demean our own energy and also cause contrary manifestation to what we're actually intending to manifest. And then finally, the importance of setting those boundaries because you're worthy and deserving of being treated with respect and with love. You know, and so that's actually what I got just because I was doing. Does ask a question specifically. Angela White says, I've had some major inflammation on my left foot for quite a few days. Any idea what that could be from or how to heal it?
And so I do get that there's a trapped emotion. And oftentimes emotions get trapped in layers, not necessarily chronological. And if you're young, maybe you've got one trapped emotion, but the older you get, it seems like the more trapped emotions you have.
Yeah.
And we're not always able to access all of them at the same time. But I do get she actually has an inherited trapped emotion that's playing a role. And when I say inherited, this is through bloodline. I'm getting it's the energy of terror. And so sometimes terror is like horror movie terror. Other times, especially when you're a little kid, it's more like you're sort of extremely freaked out because you don't always understand.
Yeah.
So, but with Angel Knight, it was, a family member. So let's see where it came from. So I'm getting it started on her dad's side, and then I'll go back and ask, did it start with dad? And I get no. So one of the grandparents. So was it dad's parents? I do get yes. So dad's dad. So it was Angel Knight's grandpa that this is what started it. And let's see how old he was when it started. He was like 16 or so, 17. Or ages are hard. So 15, 16, 17, something in there. And so I'm going to go in and just release. And then usually I ask like Angel Knight to say a prayer, or if she has healing in her background to work with me. I'm releasing it. So I'm going to hone in. And so sometimes with grandparents, especially, one level back, most of us know our grandparents. It's when you get, great 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 grandparents that usually we don't know, and it is not uncommon to have things that ran through the bloodline. And so with inherited trapped emotions, I also set the intention that we release from anyone in the family who has it. So if she had any cousins, they might have the possibility of having it, or aunts and uncles. And not everyone usually has it, but usually it might be sort of a family theme that they're a little bit more sensitive to that type of emotion and energies.
And
So, and then I
connected.
also do something called a healing pulse that helps with physical and emotional things. And so, yes, if we decide to do that tonight, that's where I would suggest Angel Night send it to her left foot.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if you wanted to do that.
Cool.
Do you want to start it later on in the show, or do you want to do it now?
Whenever you think is good.
Awesome. Thank you for offering that. Yeah,
Yeah.
to add to that too, there's um, a surprising number of individuals specifically talking about this kind of a reaction to their body, whether it be their left foot, their left hip, and in the left hip, where I'm getting a lot of it is divine feminine and specifically grandma kind of energy. If that's you, and this is like a blanket answer, though. Um, it does link specifically to the flow of our lymphatic system when it manifests in a physical way. So, using tapping is a physical way to usher that energy, is what I'm saying.
Nice.
Allowing, you know, sometimes we'll start the top of the head, and then you'll do the whole, motion of changing all the way through your body, getting it down and moving it down. And then after you get to, under the armpit and below, you'll start to actually feel the area that you're talking about, the foot or the hip or whatever it is. It starts to almost feel like it hurts a little bit more because the lymph is being processed and moved down. Sometimes I'll even just massage, this. Carolina says that her left knee. And so this is a really common area right now that people are moving their energy through. I find this to be true pretty much across the board, that typically as a collective, those of us who are actively healing will all be noticing the same location of the body being affected simultaneously or very close to the same time.
Mm-hmm.
What do you get from what Carolina says about her left knee?
Well, Carolina.
Carolina. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. I say your name all the time, and I feel like that because the E.
Yeah. So I'm getting the energy of shock. Let me get an age.
Abandonment.
Like age 26 or so. So plus or minus years. So 25, 26, 27. So let's just hone in and release that. Usually with shock, it's some type of event that was unexpected.
Abandonment of some kind is what that shock felt like to me. When you said shock, I felt abandoned. I felt isolated. All of a sudden, I was on an island. Not literally, figuratively.
Yeah. Yeah, just being alone
Mhm.
unexpectedly. Interesting.
Thank you. And while we move the lymphatic system through, there's other things that we could do. I'm really kind of happy that we're talking about this because this is kind of like new knowledge for me. I mean, I'm not pretending to be a medical professional or healthcare advisor of any kind. I'm just telling you my experience. And I've been learning and exploring more natural remedies, and something that grows pretty much everywhere you live is this stuff called cleavers. It's also known as goosegrass in some regions. Um, it it's that the little they have there's a bunch of the leaves are long and slender, and they get stuck to people as they walk through the bush, or their dogs get it stuck to them. It's actually a natural lymphatic system cleansing. Here we go. Here's an image of it. Wait, now it's got to load again. I wonder if it'll show it. So this is what
Oh,
it
it's
looks
got
like
little
when it's,
flowers.
yeah, it's got, that's when it's in bloom. Um, and the little leaves are what you actually want. It's not really liking me to show it very well, but um, just looking that up, cleavers, I I found that I started to use it. There's also options where you can get it as like liquid drops and stuff like that. You can buy it made into tinctures already. Dried, it doesn't. It's like lost most of its effectivity, but this generates the flow required for your lymphatic system to kick back on again and to clear out like any clogs like in your pipes, you know what I mean? And so I've been taking it for 2 days and I feel fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
How do you use it?
um I add it to tea. You can
Okay.
also um if you don't want to dry it so it's like fresh, you can eat it just like it is. It's got little teeny little furriness to it. It's not mullein, but it has that same kind of concept where it's got little hairs on it. um it's also something that you can what I've done is I've added it to other tea. Like I've added it to lemon balm, you know,
Mhm.
and it tastes really good. So it does have a light, earthy flavor. It's almost like what you would get off of simmering a dandelion stem in tea for a minute. Does that kind of a flavor. But it's actually
Cool.
not bad. Pretty good.
Hmm.
But I really hope.
Interesting. And it's cleaver like a meat cleaver, or is it?
Yeah, cleavers
Okay.
with an S at the end.
Oh,
Okay, Donna says they call it hitchhikers. That makes sense because it gets stuck to people. So you got a
oh,
hitchhiker.
interesting. I've never heard of that. But I find sometimes it might be a southern thing that doesn't live where we get too cold.
You know, we used to have them a lot up when I lived up north too, and I just
Oh,
didn't know that they were something that what to do with them. No one ever mentioned it. I just happened to. I've gotten to know people in the local area that
mhm.
know local folk medicine and stuff, and so um, yeah, if you find some, or you can also buy it. I saw you can get like tincture drops, and you would just
Okay.
put the
Nice.
little drops in water or tea, and yeah, I mean if you get a
Well,
chance,
I,
if
I
it's
did
local,
find it.
good.
Gallium aparine, common names cleavers, clivers, catchweed, robin run the hedge, goosegrass, sticky willy.
We got a lot of names.
Very interesting.
It's really fun.
Super.
And
Thank you for
if you're
sharing.
yeah, and if you're harvesting it near to you, um, you want to get it before the little bulb comes up on it. It gets a little fuzzy ball on its
Hmm.
tip, and that's like um, you want to that becomes a seed and then a new plant. So you kind of want to get the younger ones before they get the big bulb, I guess. Best. It works better. So anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other people in the audience, and I just wanted to remind y'all if you want to ask any questions, we are able to help you. If there's you having something going on in your body or have any questions for spirit, uh, we have some really awesome responses for you. So please write them in the comments. They have them in Northern California,
Okay.
where Don's at.
Nice.
So I think you're about the same line. What are those called?
Um,
It's like
the latitude, I think,
yeah,
is that. I bet we're higher.
Yeah.
So, oh, Jimmy's got some stuff coming up.
Yeah. Reset ceremonies. Speaking of reset ceremonies, I had to stop and ground. So intense. Yeah, the reset ceremonies that are underway across the globe. There's another one that, if anyone is able to, I highly encourage you to participate tomorrow. Um, some people are doing like gatherings and stuff, and other people are just whatever you're doing. Sometimes you're doing dishes or you're pulling over from traffic. At 12 p.m. Central CDT, we've had a time zone change because daylight saving thing happened. So for me, it's 12 p.m. I'm not sure what time it is for you all, so check your local. However, at noon my time, for 5 minutes, the world is stopping to either chant love, peace, respect, unity, or to simply manifest the energy of new earth, of peace, harmony, balance, and unity as a collective species, um, bringing bringing utopia. You know, another way of saying is bringing earth to heaven. So if you have 5 minutes tomorrow at that time to join in, where countries all over the planet are going to be doing it at that same specific moment in time. So that'll be really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. We have another question for you from Terry.
Okay. I do get there that a part of it is related to a trapped emotion, and it's the emotion of self abuse. Let me get an age, because oftentimes when things get trapped, it's around a certain event or occurrence. Age 19, so somewhere 18, 19, 20. And so I'm going to reach in and work on releasing. And then maybe afterwards, it might be a good time to do a healing pulse, especially for all the physical things that people have going on.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay, I'm getting that released. So a lot of sciatica is about putting the body into balance.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully this will be a part of that. Is that someone in your area that's hosting that, or just someone you know?
Oh, it's all over the world. People are doing it all
Oh,
over the country, all over the world. I mean, I know that there's some people in Russia doing it. There's people in that I know personally. People in Australia, in Romania, in Denmark, just wherever the time zone is. Some people are waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do it. For
wow.
me, it happens to be at noon. You know. And I did tell a post in there that it's here. I'll put it up here so you guys can see it. And it's the fact that so many content creators are talking about it is what I really enjoy watching this thing
Nice.
unfold. It's like, people are offering. I know that there is some people that popped up on Facebook that were hosting like cacao ceremony kind of stuff, but it's like remote, and so it's going to be really cool. And we're doing it for 5. Oh, yeah. So we're doing the 5 minute thing, right? right now, or where are you
Oh,
doing? Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we
yeah.
have a couple of more questions, but you said that might want to start the. How do you want to run a roll with this?
So the healing pulse is a short thing. It's like a burst of energy that goes where you direct it to go. So if you've got physical things like the left foot, sciatica, and I think there was someone else that
The COPD.
in the COPD. So think about that's where you're going to want to place your hands. Now, if you've got something emotional going on, like, are you feeling grief or sadness or anger? Where does that live in your body? Because that's where you're going to want to direct the energy. So I want you to rub your hands together and then place your hands exactly where you want to receive the healing. And then imagine my hands on yours. So you're getting your own healing frequencies plus mine. And then the most important part is just allowing the energies to flow. And so just imagine with each breath in, the healing goes a little deeper. With each breath out, you're releasing. If you're a person that enjoys breath work, this would be a good time to do that. Oftentimes I suggest like the box breath, but just allow it to flow. For those of you who are sensitive, you might feel tingles, you might feel hot or cold, you might feel something lifting or sort of a lightening of your spirit. Just allow. We do this for about a minute, so not very long, and then we sort of evaluate. So when I evaluate, I ask, is it still there? Or did it move? Did it lessen? And then if we do another, we adjust the hands to take any of that into account. Oftentimes, especially if it's pain, sometimes it moves. And I find that a good sign that we can at least maybe knock some of the discomfort down so that things are a little easier to just live if your pain is not as great as it was. So this is something that the energy goes to treat the exact symptom. It does not go to the root cause unless there's excess energy. And so I've had people that we do a couple healing pulses and whatever's going on disappears, which is amazing. It's like magic. And sometimes
Yeah,
it doesn't come back. But sometimes, especially if they're stressed or triggered, if we didn't heal that root cause, because that's like a secondary thing that the energy goes to, sometimes it will come back. But especially for short term kind of things, it can be quite wonderful.
do you find that you heat up when doing those? I've both times we've done it. I noticed that like my hands get so hot
Mm-hmm.
and heating the area that it's actually kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah. And everybody's a little different. Some people don't experience anything, because not everything works on everyone.
Hmm.
And some people feel more tingles than heat.
Yeah,
But it's a symptom that things are flowing and that you are doing a good job of allowing.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Just as all experiences. In fact, I would say that most people, that's the learning curve that we have in the spiritual community is that everyone has a story and everyone has a story to tell, though many people will try to compare their own experience against someone else's to measure where they're at. And
Yeah.
it's good to see validation through sharing stories, though often if
Mm-hmm.
we try to fit the mold of the specificity of the other person, it doesn't align because we're just as unique as our fingerprints.
Exactly. And, you know, even as a facilitator in the energy, a lot of times I don't feel it, but I know it's there. And that I've just gotten. So I have faith and I trust that it's there. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel it and sometimes I don't. But I know it's always there.
Yeah. That's fascinating. I would like to grab someone's question here that we
Okay.
already highlighted, though, specifically because this is something that's been coming up a couple different times lately. The COPD. Um, what emotion uh, experience is connected with this type of lung?
I'm going to refer to this because this will give, at a glance, a lot more that. So this gives a lot of reasons, emotional reasons why things are occurring. Just seeing. Interesting. So this has lots of individual ailments. So like here's something under C, car sickness, cataracts, cavities, cellulite, cerebral palsy, chest congestion. I'm not seeing. So COPD, is that chronic?
It's got to do
So
with
it doesn't
the
have
lungs
the
and
acronym.
breath. Maybe if lungs, just lungs specifically.
So I'll look. So this also has the physical area that things are affected. So like there's nails, muscles, mouth, lungs. Okay, so here are possible contributing factors to lung issues. And so usually I say if you have half of these, we'll use this in a session to dig in deeper. But especially with this, go back to the recording and focus on each statement and see if this is true and work on releasing it. So it's got maybe 6 statements. So sad, yearning, weepy, anguish, tired, and suppressed. Difficulty expressing or standing up for yourself. Propensity to put other people's needs and desires first and to overdo things until you run out of breath. Inability to say no. Feeling smothered or overprotected. Difficulty feeling independent. Confused or cloudy thinking. Constant need for encouragement and support. And so that's sort of an overall unhealthy emotions to work on with lungs, sadness, frustration, low self-esteem, and feeling overwhelmed. And so that has a lot of different things to think about. Typically not everything applies to one person, but they can pick through and say, "Oh, those 3 there, that's me."
Yeah.
And it it's helpful to have, an honest conversation with yourself and say, "Yeah, I do tend to put everyone else over my needs."
Yeah.
Because some people don't admit to that. Um,
Right. And the
so,
inability to speak up for the self advocacy is something that's
yeah.
really, I think, I would say every one of us, if we've not had a learning curve at first, having to learn it yet, we are doing it now,
Mhm.
every one of us in some way, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. There's
You're
also a lot of people were saying they also heated up. They got
Oh,
hot.
good.
Yeah.
Like
So,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, because not everybody does, so that's fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, my hand still feels a little bit hot to the touch, my palms.
Good.
Yeah. So are you able to pick up on Jeffrey's plugged left ear? Tried playing rock side in a few things and nothing seems to be working. Oh, she reworded it here. Are you able to pick up on Jeffrey's plugged left ear?
Let's see. All right. So this, sometimes with this, it has specific things for left and right ear, and it does have a left ear specific. Feeling that what you have to say is not important and not worth hearing or listening to. Spending time around people who judge and criticize you, criticizing yourself.
Yeah.
And so with that, I'm going to just pull an emotion specifically for Jeffrey. So I'm getting lack of control. And let me get an age for Jeffrey. Getting around age 12. So 11, 12, 13, lack of control. So we're going to reach in, and Angel Knight is his mom. So you and Jeffrey can work on that together, releasing that. Angel Knight and I will do my part too. It's hard when things don't work. So, but hopefully that'll take the edge off a bit, at least drop the pain level down.
With this, I also feel connected, this disempowered, minimized, it made to be too small kind of thing happening, like not feeling validated or worthy kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like, but I don't know if Jeffrey's a child, but it feels childlike. Like just not having the ability to make your own choices about your life. That's that a child often feels like at when you're really young.
Yeah, and I got around age 12, so that fits.
Yeah. Not being heard, not being listened to. Like it feels like perhaps knowing things when no one would hear you, and it bad things would happen anyway. Even and so knowing it beforehand didn't do any good. That kind of feeling. That's what it kind of feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says she felt a shift, but I'm not. I think that she was talking about when we were doing the original.
Oh,
The
yeah.
did any of those comments resonate with you, Angel and Light? And our commenter from the COPD, I have to leave now. Thank you. We'll watch the replay. While we're waiting for Angel Light's response, I wanted to, just because this is a huge topic right now. The more that we start talking about, the more I realize this is almost everybody that I'm talking to many of them are having lung related things right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very specific to this time frame. Typically, when something is happening on a global scale, we won't really be in a position to compare notes like we are now,
Mm-hmm.
because people are from all over the country that are joining in, or
Right.
the world, I mean, excuse me. And so we don't always compare and contrast, though. If so many people are having lung and heart both actually related stuff, I've always noticed it as melancholy or grief that people carry with them, that
Mm-hmm.
we've unwept tears kind of stuff. And um, is there's something that works for both the ear. This is what me think of it. Both the ear and the lungs is this is my Swedish grandma's home remedy. Is that you get um, a big old thing of a big onion and cut it in half, and the cut side you actually place against your skin. She usually put it in like a nylon sock, so but if you're going to put it on your ear, you don't really want, it doesn't feel that awesome to put a raw onion on your face, so that's, but to put it against your ear, it'll actually draw out some of the stuff that's bothering the person, as well as putting it right on the lungs. It sometimes will actually look like the next day the person will have a whole bunch of blemishes, like almost zits on their chest or the back, on their back, right, the same place their lungs are. So that often will help as another added. And then the ear thing that Jim says goes along with that.
Mm-hmm.
That was for me as well.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you for that. And Angel Light says yes, or thank you. Yes, they do. Cool. Awesome.
Fabulous.
It's so much fun because, see, that's why I got so big into Dolores Cannon. All right. I don't really know a whole lot about QHHT. I know that every physical symptom has an emotional body underneath it. It's always true. And when we go through moments of trauma, we leave behind a residue of ourselves. You know, we've got code in our pop culture to kind of remind us of that, where things are get left behind, and so they need to be recollected, right? And
Mm-hmm.
for it to do that, the underlying emotion body needs to be healed, seen, understood in some way, and reintegrated. And sometimes those emotion bodies, like for instance, I remember there was a period there everybody was going on about their liver. Was they were having things going on with their liver, and that was initially when um, our planet no longer resonated with the frequency of the language of fear. The language of fear started to die away, and all of a sudden, that stuff that processed the fear and the anger started to feel out of sorts, because what was left behind needed to be felt. Energy and motion, emotion. It's meant to flow and go, not stay and hang out
Mm-hmm.
for the rest, like you were saying, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you also do Reiki too. Like, do you do Reiki over the internet? I know people
Yeah.
who do that.
Yes.
No,
So I
you do.
also teach it, and I started teaching it actually during COVID. And as a very strong introvert, I have not offered it in person because I'm not sure if I can handle the energy for that length of time, in person. So I really like teaching it online, and I mix me teaching along with videos and other interactive kind of things, and we practice with the frequencies. It's Reiki 1 and 2 is a 2-day course, and even just this week, I had a Reiki share with my students that have taken classes through me. So, yeah, love Reiki. It's a lot of people find Reiki, and then about half of them move on to other things, and half of them just stay with Reiki, and there's a handful that just let it go. But Reiki training gives people a really good basis for energy work.
Yeah,
And so it's just helpful to know a lot of the basics because the training's pretty thorough. I've done quite a bit of energy work training, and um, I won't say it's my favorite, but the training is, I think, the most comprehensive training.
yeah,
So I think it just really helps set you up for success no matter what type of energy work you do.
right on. Yeah, I feel like we all want to naturally do this anyway. It's the give and take energy. It's the shared, reciprocal. Like it's just continual energy flow that some of
Yep.
us have been, for whatever purpose or reason, it's conditioned or indoctrinated in a way that we stopped that flow, and so we're just remembering how to do it again. It's a natural course,
Yeah. Well,
right?
think about all the moms, and even if you don't have kids, all the pet moms, you know, little Johnny falls and scrapes his knee. What's the first thing you do? You touch him, you touch the knee, you send him energy, and he might still be crying, but he calms slightly because of your touch.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's another point about being a healer. You know, everyone's a healer, and
Mhm.
we will often not even. So what Spirit says is that uh, the water flows where light must glow. because you need water and light to heal. And then so we bump our shoulder, for instance, you bump your shoulder and it starts to swell. You get inflammation because you just bumped yourself. And the first thing that you do is you put your hand on there and you amplify the healing of that area of your body. And it's something that we just naturally do, though after a time we've been convinced that it's not science, and so therefore it's not real or something like that, and we kind of stop that natural. And then, like you said, after a while we end up noticing that we've collected quite a lot of stagnant energy that is emotion that was caused by a variety of trauma, or we left behind aspects of ourselves and been carrying around the emotion of that throughout the ages. And it's time, and it's about learning how to put those emotions down. Like that child example you made, that kid's gonna cry with their whole heart. The whole neighborhood's gonna know that kid's skinned their knee, but then they're done. They emptied their cup. Now they're ready for the next emotion, and it's about learning how to do that again as an adult, right?
Yeah. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. I have another question here. Amanda has one. I know that this is from before, but she says, my insides have been vibrating more than ever. Grounding helps, but especially around people physically. I feel like I'm ticking like a time bomb or something.
And so I would say Amanda's probably very empathic and she picks up on what people are feeling around you. And, since COVID, I don't go out in crowds like I used to because it seems like I feel things more. But I also practice shielding a lot when I do go out, or say instead of working from home, because I do have a part-time job that I sometimes go into the office, and I make sure before I go in and interact with my coworkers that I'm shielding from strong energies, because sometimes you just don't want to feel it.
Yeah. 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 And I'm with you. I agree with you. I actually do know her, so it's that you're right.
Nice.
So I'm interested. I did level 1 Reiki years ago before my towers fell. I want to take it again because I am a different person now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably will be offering something in the next few months online. My website is a bit of a disaster right now because I've added my new tool, but it's not on the website yet. So keep an eye on that. And I will probably post on Facebook and YouTube too.
Awesome. And just to reiterate something you just said, this self-advocacy period that we're in right now is about maintaining your own energy and realizing, teaching yourself maybe for the first time, because we've been taught differently, many of us have, that taking care of yourself isn't an unaligned act. We've been taught that that's selfish and bad and wrong, and there's something out of alignment by, if you need a nap, take a nap. If you are in groups of mixed energy, be aware of your energy space. I create bubble all the time while I'm out in about, and then after I'm done being in these mixed crowds, there's extra work. I'm filling my bubble back up and clearing energy off. It's like spiritual maintenance. You would wipe your feet before you came in the house from the muddy terrain as well. Same concept, right?
Yep. And it's, you find out what works for you. Like, I love my family, but sometimes I have a hard time being around them for very long. So I've realized I love them in just small doses, and I plan on showing up, for lunch and conversation, and then I'll go, and that's just perfect because it's enough to touch base and love on them and then go home.
Yeah. 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 You're not meant to drag yourself through everyone else's energy and to collect it, right? What do you do? What do you guys use to shield? Would you like to respond first?
So I tend to bubble. Part of it's language, figure out what language works for you, or what visual works for you. Some people use shield because they like seeing like the shield, like Archangel Michael's shield, or they have a suit of armor, or figure out what makes you feel protected, and that's a piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do the same thing. I bubble, same. And it's just like, you have your soul spark that looks like a Vesca Pisces or a seed shape. It's a light that is only of light, can't contain anything but light, like it's been teleported from God or something. And I use my belief in balloons because I've always been that person at parties. I made the mistake of telling people I can make balloon animals. So every child's party we went to over the years, that was what I did. And so I will, when I'm breathing in through my nose, I'm drawing in the breath that will then, when I exhale, I expand that. And it grows bigger and bigger and bigger, and it fills up beyond my ability to reach, beyond my wingspan. And then you can you can continually blow into this white light is what fills it up. And what I really like about doing this specifically is I don't even feel like it's really a shield. It's that I'm creating an excess of light. So those who will come and interfere or want some of my energy can harvest from the outside edges that are overflow. And so it doesn't take from me directly, and I'm not interfered with as much. And at the same time, it's a gift. It's a giving. You're giving everybody else something awesome. And that way it doesn't go straight to me and affect me directly. If I don't prepare ahead of time, I will sometimes get caught off guard and feel like I just got dragged through it.
Yep. We could do a little aura strengthening exercise.
Yeah.
I do this on my mini healing. I've got one coming up on the 1st that we always end with aura strengthening. And the great thing about a strong aura is it helps repel negativity. And so would that be okay?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, so you want to get your energy flowing. So I rub my hands together. And even if you don't work with your energy much, pull in healing pulse energy if you're not confident. And then I just start beaming out and just imagine, granted, you need a lot longer arms, but just beaming out, imagine that aura getting thicker and stronger and more protective. I oftentimes will also put a hint of reflectivity. So that way, if someone's spewing negativity, some of it will bounce back. You never want to do like a full mirror because people will run into you either walking or in your car. So you don't want that. That's why you want, pieces of reflectivity. And then once I get the energy flowing, then I think about what would be really helpful for me to have right now in my bubble. Am I sad today? So I need some joy and unconditional love. Am I going into work and giving a talk? Do I need strength and confidence? So think about what you need inside your bubble and fill that up while you're beaming out. And that way you get the best of both. You get protection and you elevate you.
I love that.
Yeah.
It feels very much like mom energy. And I say that because it's like it's pure love, but it's also the mom voice when you have asked for too many glasses of water and it's way past bedtime. The mom no is full of love. And she's also the person, it's also this voice or this energy that sticks up for you against yourself. Don't talk down to yourself. That's my friend you're talking about, kind of way. Right? It's beautiful. It's just love.
Yes.
Love is all you need. Thank you for teaching us that. Is there anything more you'd like to remark on?
Yeah, those are like the main things. Just, part of it's just paying attention to what resonates with you and what works with you, and exploring. There's so much out there to explore. Sometimes I get overwhelmed because there's just so much, but pay attention to what already works with you and keep going along that path.
Yeah. Yeah. And exploring, trying new things, knowing that you're not throwing away anything that you've learned, you're including. We're never meant to discard. It's
Right?
fine tuning as we go, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And speaking of fine tuning, um, if you are aligned to do so, this peace, love, respect, unity chant goes on for 5 minutes, starting at 12 p.m. tomorrow. CDT is the time zone that I'm in. So that we would have started the chant 6 hours and 13 minutes ago by the now moment that you're in if you're watching this live. And that'll be tomorrow. So it's something that we see people everywhere talking about it. There's no place to go to do it. You can do it outside. You can be, doing the dishes, whatever, in the shower, taking a bath. It's just to draw up the frequency of new earth, of aligned utopian world. We're bringing earth to heaven, and it's something definitely worth exploring. Oh, we have another question. Do you want to answer another question before we go? Or
Sure.
all right. Lots of laundry and pressure in the tailbone and lower back. Lots of laundry. I'm wondering if that's the right. Oh, pain and pressure in tailbone.
Okay. Let's see. Do you get there's a trapped emotion contributing? Getting the energy of panic. Let me get an age, and we'll see if Mila can expand upon it. Getting like around 22 or so. So 21, 22, 23.
I'm getting a lot of shame associated with undesired sexual contact.
Ugh. Let's get rid of that. And Lisa, just if you don't have healing in your background, say a prayer or a wish that that's released. Yeah, I'm getting it.
And you collected. Pardon.
Go
Excuse
ahead.
me. I was going to say I feel that she's collected also a lot of self-identity around this event.
Oh,
That's not serving, not helping. Like um, it has been one of those events that we have in our lives that create our reality, the way we look at the world, and that has an unaligned. There's no pure benefit for it.
that's too
So we
bad.
think.
So it's holding her back.
Pardon me?
It's holding her back.
Yeah. Hey, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seeing that there's no reason to. So, what happens in these events? Because this is my background and my growing up in my younger world is, as a lot of you know, I was a trafficked child, and I only bring this up because I'm healed through it, and that there's things to learn once you've healed through some things, and as we assign shame and things like that, we don't always realize that it's a transference of emotion from the attacker, from the abuser or the individual. This transference is how they're feeling. And then we assign shame to our own sexuality. We assign shame and blame to ourselves when in a situation, sometimes we would actually word it as that individual would have been like the victim in this particular situation. Though I shouldn't have been wearing that or standing there or doing that and those types of things, because we're trying to explain why we feel shame when it's not even ours that we're feeling. We're feeling the energy and emotion of the person who attacked. You know what I mean? And so when we acknowledge that it's a transference of emotion, then it's easier for it to flush out, I find. It's like, oh, it's not mine anyway. I don't have to hold on to that. It's got nothing to do with me. So, blessings and healing to all.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for all of you in the audience who asked your questions and allowed yourself to be vulnerable for the healing to occur today. This was really fun. I can't believe we've already been talking for over an hour. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like we literally just got started. I mean, really. I've been getting download the whole time we've been talking, so I felt like I'm kind of like only half in the conversation.
Oh,
so there's
well,
this
you
has been.
didn't show it. I hope it was good stuff.
Oh, it was really good. I'm glad it didn't show too.
Yeah.
And to answer Amanda, yeah, for MST time zone, it is 10 a.m. that we're going to be doing that chant. Again, wherever you are in the world, we won't be doing. I won't be doing a live or anything during that time. I don't think. However, wherever you are, that's the same time zone time for PDT, for Pacific time zone. It's I believe it's 3 a.m. in I don't remember what part of Australia the person was when I was talking to her. Now I think of it, but maybe that's Sydney time. Check your listing to be sure. At whatever time you're able to join, we'll still feel it. Just if you can do it at the precise moment, man. When everyone's joined in the same intention at the same time, it's some powerful, amazing energy that can flow through. So that's why I'm so excited to participate. Pardon me. Um, and this is an interesting, I never thought of transferring of emotion that is helpful, blessing and love to you all. Yeah, it's something that I've noticed over the years, that it's like they want to shake off their shame, and so they give it to you. And like it's like someone wiping their booger on you, basically. I mean, I just don't mean to be gross about it, but that's what it's like, and it's not yours to keep. And so it's time to let go of it. Why not? It's not yours. It's not yours to hold on to. So
Yes.
thank you so much for being on the show today and for your beautiful wisdom and help for everyone here. If anybody wants to connect with Summer further, this is her website, www.csummerjones.com. And you can explore her website, and there's a lot of different things. It sounds like you update it really regularly. There's new
I
modalities.
try. I'm a little behind, and I do give free consultations, and everything's through my booking page, which you can link to on the website.
Awesome.
So, but thank you for having me. This was wonderful. Nice to connect with everyone.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And to answer a question I saw at the end is now, peace, love, respect, unity are the 4 words that people are planning to chant. You can use whatever words are aligned for you, though. I feel like this is like a guidance, but not, or a suggestion. The concept is that we're manifesting everyone able to move into what people are calling new earth. Though what it truly is just balancing and harmonizing all that are here on this planet, and engage with this planet. So we're bringing heaven, or we're bringing earth to heaven, is how Spirit worded it. They made it the opposite from what we usually say, bringing heaven to earth. It's bringing earth to heaven. So it's going to be really interesting to see what that looks like.
Nice.
So, Thank you once again, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the future.
Yes.
And quickly before I forget, that website that I posted, I put up for summer, you can book sessions. She does a variety of different things, and you can just explore that and book on that website. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Happy equinox and happy end of retrograde of Mercury. And yeah, hold on, because there's going to be some fun little turbulence, but I don't think it's going to be a bad turbulence over the next week, but it's definitely going to be some motion. Sending you all love.
Yes. Thank you.